My name is Eric Thurston. I'm part of the MTS team. And we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at 5 things you should be doing 3 months before you start your apprenticeship. So let's have it a go. Let's give it a go. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. And these are things which I've learned over the years being an MTS trainer. And they're also things which apprentices have told us they wish they had known before they started their apprenticeship. So 5 things to do now if your apprenticeship starts in 3 months. Number 1, keep preparing your heart now. So hopefully you're working on a discipline of spending time with God and in prayer and Bible reflection. If you haven't, please start that now as a daily practice that will carry over into your apprenticeship. Here's the second thing I'm going to say. Keep serving now to the end of the time you're supposed to be serving. So I have seen in the past, sometimes 3 or 4 months out, people who are going to be doing an apprenticeship are looking forward and they're not keeping their eye on their ball on their current ministries. So work hard to the end on your current ministries and finish well. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to suggest you could potentially do to prepare your heart now is to print out, read, and mark 1 and 2 Timothy and Titus, our letters to Paul to younger leaders, which talk a lot about Christian ministry and a lot about being a Christian minister in a very personal way. That may be a really good exercise for you to do now as you prepare to be an apprentice next year. That's the first thing, prepare your heart now. Number 2 is everyone on board. So your family, hopefully your spouse and your kids know what's going to happen. Do your extended family know what's going to happen next year? I'll talk a little bit about that later. It's really important that they know that the shape of your week and your year will be probably quite different than it is right now. Does the person you think will be your trainer know that they're going to be your trainer? And I've seen this happen in the past. There's been some communication, miscommunication, or no communication. And sometimes a person who's supposed to be a trainer doesn't even know that's the expectation of them. So please talk to that person and talk about what you're going to do. Same with your ministry base. You should be talking to the ministry team so they know what's going to happen next year. And finally, your supporters. This is really, really important. Number 1, if you've already got supporters that are going to support you with prayer and with finances and with other things, start communicating with them now. You can never start too early. And if you don't, start building up that supporter base now, right? Don't wait till next year. People are going to support you with prayer and finances and other things. So get your supporters on board. That's the second thing, is everyone on board. Here's the third thing, build a healthy platform. Number 1, how will you and your trainer work together? We've put out a video that talks about what you need to know about working with your MTS trainer. If you didn't see it yesterday at MTS Recruit, please watch it. It's going to help you a lot. Second thing, you need to have some form of organization because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to be doing. So you need to start organizing yourself now if you're not already organized, running a diary clearly, and you need to have some tools to prioritize, be organized, and to use your time wisely. This is perhaps the number 1 thing apprentices who are 6 months in say, I need to have some tools to be more organized. We'll talk about that later in resources. The other thing I'm going to say on this, if the, just go back again. If the ministry you're working with uses some type of platform to have people's diaries talk to each other and exchange documents and stuff, then please get on that as soon as possible and get your email address sorted out for your ministry and all that stuff, right? Don't leave it till the last minute. Next thing down is really important. It's about dollars and budget. So you need to be clear on the financial questions surrounding your apprenticeship. If people have said they're going to support you financially, or your ministry base has said they're going to support you financially, you need to know how much they're going to support you, how much support they're going to give to you, sorry, and also when they're going to give that to you, all right? So I actually have seen it happen. There's been poor communication in this area, and an apprentice thinks they're going to get money into their bank account in January, and the church always meant, no, you're not going to get it until June, and that's a bit of a problem. So make sure this is clear, the amount and when, and so you know clearly how much you have to fundraise to, okay? On the other hand, budget, put together a budget. It's something that we all know we should do. Very rarely we do it, but you'll probably have less money next year than you do this year to spend. So you need to know how much is going in, how much is coming out, right? You kind of all know how a budget works. And one of the tips on the budget, one place you could potentially save is on your transport. So I've seen apprentices sell cars and just use a bicycle in public transport, especially if they're close to the ministry. And I've also seen other apprentices who have fairly expensive cars, sell those cars, buy a cheaper, reliable car, and have a bit of a financial pad in the bank in case they need it, okay? So that's just one potential way you could save. Here's the next thing about building a healthy platform. Make sure you write exercise. Daily exercise is the best. If you can do it into your schedule next year, even if you can just incorporate it as in your daily, whatever you're doing daily. So I'm going to walk instead of taking public transport to get exercise next year. This is a really important one. You need to sort out your time off as soon as possible. There is some limitations on when you can take time off in ministry, especially if you're in a church. So you need to sync that with the rest of the ministry team and know ahead of time when your holidays are. If you're on campus, it's more likely that it's going to be defined by the university year when you take your vacations, right? And the other thing here, which is you may not have thought about, is what does your Sabbath look like next year? You get one day off a week. What does that look like? Do you look at your mobile phone or not look at your mobile phone? What would you do to relax on your day off? So think about that. There's some resources at the end, once again, to help you think about that. You can also talk to other people who are in ministry and say, what's a Sabbath for you? What do you do in your Sabbath? Spouse, kids, and your extended family will need to know. First of all, half your weekend will be ministry now, especially if you're in a church. Less so campus ministry, but half your weekend will be ministry now because Sunday is a ministry day. And so you need to work that out with your spouse if they're working Monday to Friday. If they are doing part-time, maybe you can line up your days off during the week so that your day off will line up with your spouse's. That's a really good thing to do. And the other thing, if you're on campus ministry or whatever, you need to be telling people, I'm going to be working this many nights a week because that's when you do a lot of ministry, just so you know there's going to be a change in your weekly pattern. Extended family may need to know. I had a friend in Canada who did an apprenticeship. He had been at his multi-generational family dinner on Sunday night every Sunday since he was born. He was 25 years old, basically, and he forgot to tell his family until Saturday, hey, tomorrow I can't be at the family dinner because I've got night church. So should have actually thought about that earlier. Would have been better to manage the situation and look for other possibilities to get the family together. As I've said at the bottom here, perhaps it'd be worthwhile for you to meet another couple who are doing MTS right now and talk to them about the changes they had to make, just so you can know ahead of time and kind of plan for those things. If you call the MTS office, we'll do everything we can to help you to do that. Finally, build a healthy platform. Start fundraising now. I'll say it again, start fundraising now. You can never start too early. So figure out how you're going to do your fundraising. Figure out some healthy ways of doing it. There's some suggestions at the end again, and start doing it now. It's great to start your ministry year with some fundraising already done. It'll take a lot of pressure off you, believe me. So start fundraising now. Number 4, prepare what you can now. So book in all your events into the calendar and make sure you communicate it to the key people in your lives. It's not a good thing for your husband or wife to find out you have to go to a mid-year conference 3 or 4 days before you have to go. So make sure you put that all in beforehand and everyone knows when you're going to be home and when you're not going to be home. You should be getting some idea with your trainer about what the shape of your ministry week will look like. And as soon as you approach starting, hopefully that will become clear to you. It's not going to be 100% clear until you start. We realize that, but at least some idea what the shape of your week is going to look like. If you have to do applications for things like OzStudy, get it done as soon as possible. And if you have to register for the Timothy Partnership or the G8 conference, do it as soon as possible. Good for you and also helps us out a lot. And finally, the last thing is the reality of hitting go on your apprenticeship. Question is, how long is 2 years? And the answer is, in a ministry apprenticeship, it's not very long. It will go like that. So the more you can prepare ahead of time, the smoother your start's going to be. So that's why we put together this short video. Now, we got a few resources here which will help you with some of the stuff we've talked about. I think the best way to communicate this on a video is I'm going to switch them. So here's the first one. This is for organization, prioritization, and time management. I'm going to just leave that there for about 5 seconds so you can take a quick screenshot of it. Okay, so here we go. And if you weren't able to do a screenshot, maybe someone in your small group did, and they can pass it on to you. Okay, so that's for organization, prioritization, and time management. Here's the next one. Sabbath and ministry. There's some resources that will potentially help you out. Take a screenshot of that. Okay, and here's the last one about starting an apprenticeship, and also a few things at the bottom there about support raising. So you can take a screenshot of that. Anything we can do to help, please call the MTS office. I hope you have a great time in your apprenticeship next year. I had a great time in mine. And I pray that God will keep growing you in your character in your conviction and your competency.